Back in the Rowdy Studios with race car driver Mike Wallace. My name's Bass Masters. That's Buzz Cutler. And we're talking about the Brickyard 400, Mike. What was the anticipation like finally getting to race a stock car on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway racetrack?
Man, I remember when we first went there, I was honored enough to be there for the inaugural event. And they had done the pre-practice deal, and, you know, thousands and thousands of fans showed up to see stock cars at the Brickyard, the hollow grounds of open wheel racing. One of the first competitions that took place was who was going to be the first car out on the racetrack. So I asked my guys, I says, like an hour and a half early, I says, let's push out. We'll sit out there or whatever. I says, because something tells me that the 2 car wants to be the first car out.
Yeah.
And darn it, if we didn't, as we pushed out past them, here they come behind us, and here comes Kenny Schrader, who was, you know, we all grew up in St. Louis. Of course, Rusty and I are brothers, and then Schrader grew up with us. So here I am, first car out, Rusty, myself, and we take off out there, and I'm the first one on the racetrack, and, you know, you're trying to get up to speed. It's like, okay, back in the day, you didn't go out there and run your best lap the very first time. You made sure the brakes were right.
Right.
The water.
Yeah. Let's get the basics down.
So I drive down in 3, and here comes Schrader blasting by us all. He wants to be the first one to the start-finish line. So I was the first one ever at the official time lap, not time lap, but on practice at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And
did Schrader get to lead that first lap?
Schrader did come to the start-finish line.
But you got out ahead of Rusty, and that's all that mattered.
That was all that mattered at that time, man. I mean, that was the competition we won for the weekend already. So,
and what were your impressions of the track when you first got on it, and are they the same now?
Yeah, I'd say they are, which the most confusing part is you're on that racetrack, and you don't realize you're on a racetrack. Sounds crazy, right?
Sounds kind of crazy.
Okay, front straightaway, it's this big tunnel. You got grandstands on both sides, which is rare.
Right.
You know, so you see that. And you're going down into turn 1, and it's a left-hand corner. It's
right, there's like a wall staring
There's
at you.
people like staring at you.
Right.
It's not basically 90 degrees.
That guy's got some weird glasses there, and that gal with them clothes, that ain't cutting it.
When do you turn? When you can recognize that the guy's wearing glasses, you better cut left?
You cut, and then you go down the back straightaway, and there's a golf course on your left-hand side. No grandstands on the back chute. It's like you don't see anything else. You see a golf course and mounds, then run into people again at the other end.
So what's the key to getting around that track? I mean, you've got these 4 straights.
Huge.
It's so flat. There's no banking. I mean, can you compare it to a Martinsville or a Pocono, or is it just its own thing?
No.
How do you deal with that?
It's its own racetrack, and you deal with it like you do any other racetrack that's got its own uniqueness. You first of all count on a great crew to bring you a car with incredible horsepower. I mean, that thing's got such long straightaways.
Right.
And you know, the 2 short chute straightaways are longer than most short tracks we run on anywhere. And then we say it has no banking, right? But what's weird, you walk out there and there is banking there. But it doesn't feel like it. It feels like it's off camber when you go to drive in there. It's proven that it's a very one-groove racetrack. I don't know why it's so sensitive to that. But you just address it totally different. Everything you do at Indy is different than you run anywhere else because you run down the long front straightaway. You got to use some brake getting into 1. You run through the short chute, but then you run through 2 and 4, maybe not wide open, but with a tremendous amount of throttle, and you got to be turning really good. And you're not used to just kind of on a flat racetrack, wide open in the throttle, turning the wheel and hoping it all works.
Is it the same at Indy? You just have to beat the other guy through the corner?
When you think about the corners, they're very tight. There's not a lot of corner. It's a lot of straightaways. But if you don't get through to the center and you can't carry a lot of speed.
You sort of want to elongate the straightaway.
Yeah, so I mean, describing to people, I mean, you got to build a big rectangle and then just put 90-degree corners on it, and that's what you're racing on. And you know, it's went through a tremendous amount of changes, the racetrack itself, from when we first showed up there. Then they started diamond grinding the racetrack and doing these different things in paving. And you know, next year the nationwide cars are going to the Brickyard on Saturday.
Yeah, that's
right. Are you a fan of that, or are you going to miss ORP?
No, you know, I've wanted ORP. I like the short track style of things, but you know, the sport changes, it progresses, and I'll be honest with you, the Brickyard has progressed and ORP stayed the same place it's been for 30 years. So I think we need it for the series. I think it's good for us. in the Nationwide Series for sponsorship. I think there's more we can offer to people, the hospitality side of it, bringing large groups to the racetrack.
We've heard a lot about this is one of the worst tracks for getting up behind someone and needing the air on the nose of your car and not being able to get it.
You know what? I think we ought to just all forget talking about aero push.
Don't mention that anymore.
Do you
It's
realize,
a dirty little secret.
Do you realize how many years we've talked about aero push?
a long time.
Ever
At least
since,
10.
This new car was going to fix aero push.
Right.
Oh, it's only amplified.
Right.
The old car was aero push. And ever since we've started coil binding front springs and getting the cars down on the ground where
Yep.
the valence is sealed off, we've created aero pushes. Everybody's got an aero push. Everything's a problem. So it's just as, because you got a flat racetrack, you're needing as much downforce as you can to go
Right.
as fast as you can. When that air is disrupted, it takes away downforce.
Right.
So the easiest word is I've got an aero push.
I see. So
know.
basically, everyone's got to live with the fact that if you're behind someone else, you're going to have less downforce, and so your car is going to have to generate more grip mechanically or just be that much better than the guy in front of you.
Yeah,
to
well,
pass
you just
him.
got here's the clue to winning the Brickyard. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
This is really complex,
All right.
and
Okay.
study it.
Go faster than the other guy.
You have to have the fastest car and do the very best job as driving it, and then you're not behind anybody, and you have clean air all day.
So no problem with the aero push now.
No aero push problem.
Might help to get out of the pits first, too.
Think about this. Every racetrack we go to, track position. That's
Yeah.
the new phrase, track position.
And it really is, too.
2 tires, no tires, gas only. The guy might be running 15th all day long. Comes in, gas only, tires, left, right sides only, whatever. Goes out leading, all of a sudden drives away from the field.
Yep.
How'd that happen? Clean air, downforce, all created by air.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, if we had to pin you down to one pick before we let you go here, a guy you think might actually win this race, what do you
Tony Stewart.
think? You think it's Smoke's time?
Smoke's time again. He's, he's one of those guys that's very passionate about the Brickyard. Main reason he owns a condo there. And he got all his buddies hanging off of turn 2. Remember when I said you drive into turn 2?
They're
That's
all waving.
All his rowdy friends are, Smoke! So,
Didn't I hear a story where his dad was pointing at his head when Tony was leading one year? Think, Tony, think. Don't screw up.
And you know what's crazy is you can see that.
Really?
You can see that as you drive in turn 2. I mean, it's like, okay, we're driving into the camera. There they are.
That's crazy.
And
If he can get that win, he can get in the chase. At this
Yep.
point, he's out of the top 10, so he needs that wild card or to get back in the top 10. So
Yeah.
he's got
so
some incentive.
Smoke, if you win, it's because of me. A little cash my way. Be good.
Yeah. And you're going to share that with us, right?
Sure.
Good
Gonna
news.
take you across the street.
All right. Chris will be there counting. All right. For Mike Wallace and Buzz Cutler, my name is Bass Masters.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.